We've had snow, so what a perfect time to show you how to clear the snow whilst at the same time protecting your back. There's a few things really need to consider before you get going. First of all, the types of clothes that you're wearing. The footwear that you have on, make sure that you've got a good sturdy tread. So like myself, nice and fetching, I've got my nice warm socks on and my walking boots because I've got a good deep tread. So I'm going to stay nice and safe on the ground because you're not going to know if there's necessarily any ice underneath. Also make sure that you wrap up warm. Obviously it's been snowing, so it's going to be cold. But don't just mean the layers that you're wearing, also mean when you're working, because you're going to be bending, what you don't want is areas of your clothes where they don't meet and exposed skin, because you're only going to get cold and so are the muscles. So myself, I'm a little bit unkempt, just going to tuck my top in. There we go, so that I'm nice and warm and that my back's going to stay nice and warm. Unzip up my jacket. I know you're going to get warm while you're working, but you've got to make sure that you're warm to begin with as well. Now also, as far as when you're starting your work, what would be bad for the back would be to get up out of bed, notice that this path needs clearing and get out there and start working, or to go from sitting for a while to start clearing. Clearing the snow is a little bit like any physical activity. You need to be warmed up for it. So if you've got other jobs that need doing and they involve moving around, do those first. Otherwise just go for a 5 to 10 minute walk, just so that your muscles are nicely warmed up and the blood's flowing before you get started. Next, on to the types of tools that you're going to be using. It might be that you don't have a snow shovel that's been sitting around waiting for the time when it's needed. So there are other garden tools that you can use. So just a normal garden shovel, or as I have here, a spade. So the thing is with the spade is because it is much flatter, then it is going to take a lot longer to do the job. If you don't have any form of spade, then a broom would be perfect. Literally all you will use is exactly the same techniques as I go through with you. You just push the broom along and it will clear the snow. Myself, I do have the snow shovel, so I'm just going to move to an area to go through the techniques with you. Now, as far as when you're clearing the snow, the techniques that you use are very similar to previous videos that we've done on sweeping and also hoovering. But if you haven't seen those, then the landmark that you're going with is your belly button. So it's nice and easy to find and a good reference point. It means that from working from this area, you're staying nice and stable through your back and not overworking it. Otherwise, as you're clearing, you just hold the snow shovel in front of you, like I was saying, the top of the handle at your belly button area, one hand below the other. Literally from there, all you do is just walk along and the snow should clear nicely from there. Now, as is happening just now, you might find that this snow starts to pile up over the top and that you want to unload that. The absolute worst thing you could do from your back in this instance is to twist and empty your shovel from there. That is the time, twisting is the time when your back is at its absolute most vulnerable. So the best thing to do there is a really handy technique which is called the hip hinge. I'm just going to show you sideways on. So from here, all you're doing is bending from your hips or your pelvis as though you're pushing your bum straight backwards. It's like a little mini squat. So you push your bum backwards, and if you just place your hand on your lower back, what you'll see is that you've got the nice inwards curve, or you're staying nice and flat through your lower back. The important thing here is to make sure you don't hollow and push forwards to the chest and your stomach, so you're nice and strong in this area. From there, when you're going to straighten up, it's all in the legs. So just push up from your legs, and the rest will happen. This just means that you're going to be using your leg muscles and not overworking your back muscles and tiring them out. So, as here, I'm just going to unload and literally stand slightly off to the side, push from the hinge from the hips, and then lift with your legs, and you'll be lifting your load, and then from there just turn and empty. And you might be thinking, yes, that's all very well, but using this technique is going to take a lot longer. The thing is that when you're twisting, as I mentioned, it's when your back is at its most vulnerable. So when you're twisting, although your back might feel absolutely fine at the time, mark my words, it will be later on that evening or even tomorrow and you will know the error of your ways. The other thing is that when you're emptying in this way, is it's good practice just to use both sides. And what that means is you're not always overburdening the lower hand, because that will take a little bit more of the weight. Otherwise, if you have areas where there's ice, then what's very good as well as far as looking after the back is little, just short, sharp pushes, and that will just help to clear that ice out of the way. Again, stay nice and upright through your back. So taking into account from there that you have an area that's now been completely cleared, the best thing is to treat it. So the things that you can use would be salt or table salt, like a rock salt, or even dishwasher salt is very handy indeed and does the job just as well. On top of that, then it's good to use some sharp sand or a little bit of grit just to make sure you've got a bit of purchase on that area. And actually, if you have a cat at home, then cat litter works in exactly the same way. It's just as good. So there, you've dressed in the best way, you've made sure that you're nice and warmed up, cleared the snow, treated the area so there's not going to be any ice forming and no accidents. So the rest of the day is your own to just have fun. So for myself, it's going to be making a snowman and having a snowball fight. Have fun!